Today I got this Titus 7075 Spiral Kraken clone in, and I basically thought, well, why not just do a little quick comparison video of all my Krakens, because I've got quite a few now. Some of these are kind of just here for fun. They're not really worth comparing. But from left to right, we've got the Squiggle Kraken with the Bowie and barrels. We have this Abomination Franken Kraken with one Baliplus handle, one real 2.5 handle, and the 7075 version Baliplus Tanto blade. As you can see, the Baliplus handles are actually shorter than real Kraken handles, so that's kind of weird. In the middle, we've got the Yuppie Speed Channel False Edge Kraken. I don't know if you can see that, but it's not sharp at all. I even rounded the tip additionally. This has a humongous thigh gap and speed channels. Here we've got the Titus 7075 Spiral Kraken clone. This one is similar to the Baliplus in that it is a bit shorter than a real Kraken, so that's odd. This is the Arm Shark Titanium Kraken with zippy inserts. This one's pretty similar to a real Kraken in terms of the length, but the handles are a lot flatter in like the Z-axis. And obviously it's titanium. I should also mention the Squiggle Kraken is a fair bit longer than a normal Kraken. Hold on. There, you can kind of see. It's actually a little bit longer. Alright, so let's just weigh all of these. I've got my scale. Starting with the Squiggle, we've got a 4.19 ounces. This one flips really nice. It's super neutral, a little bit lighter than a real Bowie Kraken, a normal Bowie Kraken. This Abomination weighs 4.32. The real handles are a bit heavier than the Baliplus 7075 handles, so this is just here because I was in the middle of working on it, and I figured it was a good way to show off both the Baliplus and the authentic handles. The Yuppie Speed Channel weighs 4.22. So interestingly, I have the Speed Channel version. I also have the non-Speed Channel version. And the non-Speed Channel version actually weighs significantly more. Like it's 4.3 ounces. And the blade, I believe, is actually thicker. So that's weird. But there's that one. The Titus Spiral Kraken weighs 4.04. It's by far the lightest of all of these. And for a Kraken trainer clone, it has a very neutral balance, actually. It's kind of hard to tell from that handle drop test, but it's quite a bit more neutral than a normal V3 trainer. And this beautiful boy, Arm Shark, weighs 4.68. Now that's with all of those zippy inserts and weights in, because it's crazy handle biased without. It's still crazy handle biased with the weights, but it's a bit better with the inserts, I think. Without the weights, it's like 4.56 ounces, I think. Yeah. So in terms of comparisons, I guess we can order them by weight from heaviest to lightest. So it's like this, pretty much, with the heaviest on the left and the lightest on the right. So I think the thing that most people are going to be kind of interested in is the Titus, because it's very new. This thing is okay. It's actually grown on me a lot since I got it. At first I didn't like it very much, but you can see it's got the speed channels just like the real Spiral Kraken, and just like a V3 Kraken, it has this deeper jimping. You can't really tell in the video at all, but the jimping is definitely deeper here than it is on a 2.5 Kraken or like a Baliplus Kraken. And the speed channel is also wider the way that it would be on a V3. This thing, it has a floating washer system, and the blade is a non-standard thickness. It's like 0.13 inches instead of 0.125. It's like impossible to convert this to bushings easily. You need like a reamer to get it to fit true link bushings, because the Baliplus bushings are all going to be undersized. That said, I was able to replace the hardware with Armshark, so it's now T10. I'm sure you could get metric hardware on McMaster that would work as well. I just don't have any on hand. So yeah, with the T10 hardware and the floating washers, it's actually pretty nice. The floating washer tune came a little stiff out of the box after tightening down the screws, but now, as you can see, it's pretty much perfect swing on both sides. And it actually sounds pretty good. It's very bouncy in closing, but the one thing about floating washers, here you can see the handle play is very little. But the one thing about floating washers that I really don't like is that consistently the open sound test is just not very bouncy. So yeah, you can kind of see there, not very bouncy. If you compare to even the Yuppie, which doesn't have an amazing tune by any means. A lot louder and a lot bouncier as well. And like ringier. This thing actually kind of impressed me. I had it sitting around for a long time because the handles were binding. I just had to replace the washers with TrueLink metric washers. The Yuppie washers are just awful. So if you replace the washers in this, it's actually pretty good. It's not like, I mean, it's not the Titus tune as you saw here. That's a decent amount of play, but it's not terrible, and there's no tap whatsoever. And it flips pretty well, and it sounds pretty good. If you really don't like the huge handle gap, I guess that's an issue, but I don't mind. So yeah, this one actually impressed me quite a lot too. So if we look at this Baliplus kind of Franken Kraken, one of the main things you'll notice is the difference in finishing between authentic handles and clone handles. I wish I had an Armshark aluminum Kraken to show off here, because from what I know, they replicated the kind of finishing and the texturing of the real Kraken much better. But you can see here that basically the Baliplus has a lot more of a matte kind of finish, and overall it's just not as smooth, not as nicely machined, not as comfortable. It's just a bit rougher around the edges. And that's the case for both the Yuppie and the Titus. That said, finishing wise, I do think I prefer the Titus over the Baliplus. Just something about it feels a little bit nicer and kind of more comfortable overall. So yeah, there is that. In terms of the two titanium guys, obviously not like a very useful comparison, but I do really like the Squiggle Kraken. I think it's probably pretty bad with the stock spacers because it'll make your Kraken more handle biased. But with these barrels in, it's super neutral, like perfect neutral. Yeah, you can kind of see. Very neutral, and flips awesome. Sounds awesome, as you can hear. I don't want to flip too much because my cat's right here, but yeah, so that's the Squiggle. The Armshark Titanium Kraken. I've posted about this before. This thing is weird. It's got really thin handles in the Z-axis compared to a regular Kraken. It's super heavy and handle biased. It does sound really nice. But yeah, it's just really heavy. It's pretty handle biased, even with these inserts. Um, Anything above like 4.4 ounces to me is too heavy. I'm sure some people like super heavy balisongs, but not me. I do like these huge speed channels. It makes it have really good grip and that nice ringy sound. So yeah, this guy's interesting. I like the mirror polish finish on it. It'll make for some nice anos when I get around to doing that. But otherwise, it's kind of a novelty. It's not the best flipper. This, like I said, is just an abomination that I'm in the middle of working on. I unsuccessfully tried to convert this blade to regular bushings from the floating washers. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. I might try to surface grind it down to a more standard thickness. We'll see. But yeah, as you can note with this, the Baliplus handles are like noticeably shorter. I know I said that before, but that's just continually strange to me. And I can't tighten the screws down on this all the way because it binds because of the unsuccessful bushing conversion. I'm not going to flip it because my cat's right there. So yeah, this is just really to show the difference in finish, how much glossier and kind of smoother the real Kraken handles are compared to any of the clones that I have here. Anyways, for those of you who came for the Titus impressions, I would say basically wait for the Arm Shark version of this. It's definitely going to be better. This has actually like grown on me a lot as I've flipped it more. I kind of like that it's lighter than a real Kraken and more neutral, but it's definitely not going to be as good as the Arm Shark version. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this silly little comparison, and thanks for watching. Bye.